think more than that. After discussion, I'll have any seconds for solid membership.
For the church now, they do women.org, but they
It's 2 weeks, but it should. Okay, let's bring it to group. Man, I hope you're taking notes. I agree. Lots of good thoughts. If I could get your attention up here. Man, this is so good. I would love if we could, as a group, collaborate, get some ideas put on the board. Why? Why are devices being introduced in the missionary? Ollie.
So I'm studying elementary education, and we actually have a class for a semester that's on how to incorporate technology into a classroom.
Yeah.
And they talk about how, like for example, if we're just doing the same thing that we could have done with all the paper stuff, then we're not actually using technology for what it is. Like if we're just reading, I mean, it's great that your scriptures it's like more lightweight than carrying around other books. But if you're just reading that from the iPad, that's like not really the purpose of having technology. But the purpose is to do new things in like a new way. So having all of those resources at their fingertips, allowing investigators to like share thoughts, like if they're reading the pamphlet on their devices, then they can share it with their friends. Like, but the purpose is not to do the same thing we've always done, but to enhance missionary work by doing those new things.
What did Elder Bednar say? If we keep doing what we've always done, we'll keep getting what we've always gotten. So, if missionary work needs to hasten, gotta do it different. I'm learning. Okay, let's keep going. Will.
I think it also helps us to apply the principle of being in the world, not of the world, if we're using it correctly, because this is how like people learn nowadays. This is how you kind of reach out to people. On my mission one time, my companion and I, it wasn't intentional, but we went street contact with a GPS because we were looking for something, and we didn't have one person say no to us because they'd see the shiny thing in our hand and stop and talk to us. And like, it's kind of simple, but you know, people are interested by shiny technology, and it gets people to stop and talk to you. That's a very small thing, but then you can use videos and other things that will just grab people's attention and teach them on the level that they're already at. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
To go along with that, I feel like there's a correlation between the age change and instruction and technology, because the missionaries that are coming in now are so familiar and used to using technology to learn that it just doesn't make sense to not let them use what they're already good at to share the gospel.
Yeah. This is a very tech-savvy generation. Lord's saying, let's use those skills. Pretty good. Out.
There was an interesting article in the student newspaper today about how the LDS Church is an anomaly in the sense that the more educated members become, the more faithful they are. And with every other religious group, it's just the opposite. So I think as missionaries use these tools, become more educated, like Polly was saying, trying new ways of sharing the gospel. I mean, the Lord and His prophets have never been afraid of knowledge and learning. We're all about studying and learning by faith. And not only will they be able to help other people with these tools, but they'll gain a deeper conversion and a deeper testimony as well.
I want to touch on that more, their own conversion. But maybe you already have comments on that, John, or Matt.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt, you got this. They're good.
Are we saying the same thing?
Yeah, we're going to say the same thing.
Well, the thing I was thinking is to secure the future of the church.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is just with the, and John said this as well, just with the evils and the ills of our day, which are much different than what was faced even like 20 years ago. I think the church is kind of doing a preemptive strike, trying to teach its missionaries moral discipline. Not just with like pornography, even though that was the main thing from the pre-work that we did. That's kind of one of the themes, but just moral discipline on all fronts. And if the missionaries are learning that now, then they're going to create a solid membership 20 years from now. One that the Lord can then build on, because every member is a missionary. And that's how the gospel is going to move forward.
And then John, you kind of,
I was gonna say the exact same thing.
from what the brethren are training on right now, that is getting hit home harder than anything. Is this for the investigator, or is it more for the missionary? The way the brethren are teaching right now, iPads and mobile devices, it's for the missionary. Listen,
I think just along with that, like, you don't learn how to turn something off by having it taken away from you.
you got it.
You know, because like all of us, like, we left on our missions and it was like stripped away from us, and we're like, no. And then we came back and it was the exact same, at least it was for me. Like, I didn't learn any skill on how to manage it by myself. And I think exactly that, like, they have to learn how to manage themselves and like, learn the principles and govern themselves. And I think that that's so important in this especially.
Yeah. Of righteous techniques. Yeah.
This is just basically saying the same thing, so maybe I shouldn't say it, but I feel like it's interesting, but we had a mission training by Steve Allen, Elder Allen, when I was in Denver at our mission. And he was doing a role play of contacting on the street. He had two missionaries come up to the front of the chapel, and he's up on the podium, big tall man, they're down there. And the elder comes up, "Hi, I'm Elder Anderson, I'm from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints," and he stopped him immediately. And he said, "Elder, tell me your name." And we were all, we don't go by our first names, you know what I mean? That's just like part of the culture. And it's going along with this thing of it's like stripped away from us. We feel like when they come on a mission, we're just taking that part of how they already operate. But he was, even with the name, he's like, use it. You have a personality, you're a person. They want to know about you, why you believe this. And I had never heard that before, and it was just like mind-blowing. I feel the same way about this. I feel like they're coming already, hopefully having these skills, and they're going to be literate in how to use this and use it to help people come to the Savior, you know? Anyway, I just felt like it's very similar to my reaction about the name, you know?
Just to, got that comment?
Yeah, so something that we're talking here, and that I didn't really understand until this group discussion, but another big purpose is to build immunization against pornography. If they can get it right there, then so much, they're going to be, the family's going to be protected, their future children are going to be protected. It's going to be huge.
So my wife, who works up at the church office building, a lot of you have met her, she works in the missionary department, and she, when the wave happened, she would get calls from mission presidents who were a little frustrated. And they said, "I believe in the brethren, but these iPads are not a good idea. Pornography is just spreading like wildfire in my mission meeting with the iPads." And now my wife, she couldn't really say anything. She was just had to say, "Well, contact your local priesthood authority." But she went to her boss and said, "Well, what do you tell them when they come to you and they say, we've got a problem with pornography with iPads?" And the message from the brethren, every time you teach those missionaries the correct principles, you teach them the doctrine of Christ, you let them be written on their hearts, they must raise a spirit. What does he say? What does Elder Nelson say? If we can immunize our youth by engraving the doctrine in their hearts, we can raise a strain of sin-resistant souls. That's, instead of saying to the mission president, "Oh, just get rid of the iPads." They did a phase, they kind of phased it out, but ultimately the message they're saying now is, we're here to stay because this is the purpose. Listen.
I just love that, sorry, because, like, it doesn't matter how many filters you have on your computer, you know? Like, that, you can have hundreds of them, but, like, you can still get to evil, you know? And you can still get to good, but, like, the only true principle that can actually protect you from anything is the doctrine of Christ. And, like, I feel like we were in a Sunday school lesson and all the parents were like, we just need filters. They were, like, sharing their, like, filter knowledge of, like, how do I, like, watch my child's smartphone, and I was sitting there and like, I'm so old, and it didn't make sense to me, because I was like, those kids are smarter than the filters, you know, you have to teach them the doctrine of Christ, like, nothing's good enough.
So true. Stake president in Cleveland, he's been there for a while as stake president. He said, 5 years ago in stake conference, I would come up to the pulpit and I would preach, you gotta get filters on your computer and put it in a place, your computer in the living room, in a place where everyone can see it. And he said, and then these came along. How in the world do you filter this? What we got? What's that? Doc, Chris. So, with that in mind, there's a quote. God, if you could take us to the next quote. Should the focus, I guess with that in mind, should the focus be on the iPad or should the focus be on something else? And that is, let's go. Could I have someone read this for us? Oh.
Mobile devices are but tools to facilitate the Lord's work. They are neither the focus of nor the reason for the hastening. Like a magnifying glass, they enhance our focus in fulfilling the Lord's work at this time.
Just any thoughts or any takeaways just from that? Joanna.
I guess the first thing that came to my mind is the magnifying glass doesn't do very much good if it's not pointed at something productive. And so I was just thinking of our purpose, like, it just made me motivated to like really help missionaries understand their purpose so then they can use the tool to like really hone it. If they don't have the purpose, then
It is, I will even be so bold to say it's useless. Isn't it? You just said a magnifying glass is useless. It does not serve its purpose. It's not focused on it. That's, amen. Totally agree. Just kind of that.
Just to go along with that, like, if we help the missionaries understand that the iPad or the device is for their investigators, it has nothing to do with them, it is for their investigators.
How about you? Yep.
Then it greatly helps them understand what is appropriate use of the iPad.
You have experience on this because you have information. Matt, and John? Yeah.
I just really like how it says it's not the reason for the hastening.
It's not the reason.
Like, even if we didn't have iPads, the work would still be hastening. God would just find a different way or different new tool to hasten it. But mobile devices are here. And so he said, okay, use those to hasten the work.
So true. John?
So just kind of like, right after I left the mission, my mission got iPads. It was like literally the transfer after I left. And I'm still keeping contact with senior couples that are in the mission that work very closely with missionaries with iPads. And they were telling me like, look, these things are horrible. Like, the missionaries just sit there all day long and take selfies and use Photoshop to like, and so I really like that idea of like helping missionaries understand that it's not about them, because like in my mission at least, there's a lot of missionaries where those iPads have become about them. And I think that's going to be something that's extremely important to help them understand, is that it's about others.
In fact, Ross Story, the guy who did this training for coordinators, he did a visual. He had the purpose statement, and he said, what we're seeing too often is this. Right now I can't see the purpose, it's blocked. Blocked by what? Why was my It's blocked by this. My focus is this. When Elder Nelson, he said it this way. He said, this is no different than this. He said, I don't even think about this. But it's vital in helping me do my work. I use it every day. I use this all the time. Helps me fulfill my work. Why are we thinking so much about this? When we should be thinking about this and using this merely as a tool. Now, and then
Sorry, this is another comment, I'm talking a lot, but
No, that's great.
I was just thinking like, I know a lot of people think there's all these problems that are going to come in, but you know, the apostles in the first presidency, I'm sure that they had this exact same discussion when they were deciding to do this. Like, they were probably around, and I'm sure Elder Holland was arguing, like, this is a bad idea. Maybe it wasn't Elder Holland, I'm sure they had the same thing, like, this is a terrible idea, pornography is going to run rampant, but they came to the unanimous decision, which they have to do as a quorum before they make anything, that this will ultimately be a good thing, which is something about Revelation. So I think that they recognize the implications, and that there are gonna be some casualties, so to speak. But ultimately, as we are better with introducing this technology, it's gonna end up being good. Regardless of what that.
Wow, that makes me think. When Elder Perry, this was 2 years ago, when he said over the pulpit, we're gonna bring iPads and Facebook. That wasn't Elder Perry. That was the brethren, that was a unanimous decision by the brethren that see the bigger picture. Wow, that carries a long weight. Alan, Will, and Alec.
So I remember, so it was my third transfer of my mission. I've been home for 2 years, so this was almost 4 years ago. Hearing from our mission president that Elder Perry was pushing for iPads to come to the missions, and his thing was they're either going to see pornography at home or they're going to experience it at home. Right? So I think, even just looking at it from a logical standpoint, the benefit far outweighs the cost in implementing it. Because if you leave those kids at home without serving a mission, exposed to these things, without understanding the doctrine of Christ, then there will be casualties. Far fewer casualties if we can create an environment where the Spirit is the teacher and the Spirit guides them and uses it.
Will,
Yeah, so I don't think going in at all, but like going to work to like my rest. If you don't, obviously if you don't teach anyone how to use it, if you stick someone in a laboratory, like here's a magnifying glass, and like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. I know if you stuck an iPad in my hand and said, okay, help the missionary uses it, I'd be like, I don't know what to do with this. So is there going to be some sort of training? Are we going to get iPads? Are we going to be taught how to help them use them? Because I would be
That's a great question. This initial training, as well as next week's training, we're trying to take kind of a bird's eye principle doctrine-based look at things. That's it. We're not getting into applications at all these first 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now, we will. I'll hopefully demonstrate a day in the life of a missionary with an iPad here at M2U. And answer your question about if you'll get iPads and things like that, we don't know yet. But we need to be ready. We got to be ready for whatever comes. By really knowing the doctrines and principles. It's good question. Holly, and then I think Alec, you had a comment.
I think my daughter.
Okay, Holly, yeah.
I just think it's interesting because I think sometimes we think of the hastening happening all like right now, not the reason for, but like because we do have the iPad right now, like the work is hastening. But I think it instills this like hastening in the missionaries of how they can use technology when they get home, like and they've learned to control it and use it in meaningful ways, and so they can consider or they can continue to use those meaningful ways at home to share it with. Like the implications of learning it on their mission will far exceed those 2 years that they are using it.
So true.
So I think that will really cause the hastening too.
So true. Sure.
I remember talking about a Muhammad called Israel is what God's calling. And he talks about in the past, the history was people would flee from Babylon. They left Egypt, they flee from Egypt, they were trying to escape Babylon. But it's like now today, it's impossible. We're not going to be able to run away from Babylon, so we need to prepare to use it, fight against it, I guess.
I love that.
The quote from that talk that I just love, he said, we would become mature enough to stop running. And I was just like, because, stay in one places, right? But at the same time, like, stand your ground. Don't, reject the technology. Learn how to control yourself. Like, I'm still working on that, learn how to just not scroll through Facebook and actually use it to help people come to Christ.
It's really good. In fact, before we move on, I want to ask a question that I was kind of thinking about asking again, but I'll ask it now. You just mentioned an experience you've had. In terms of experiences you've had with righteous use of technology, can you think of any experiences you've had that if we're going to be the ones trying, helping missionaries fulfill their purpose, but this is a tool, what experiences have you had with technology recently that you might share? We got Jessica, Elise, and
Well, so on my missionary, we use Facebook and we have iPads, and there are many, many experiences in which we were able to teach lessons over Facebook, and the Spirit was definitely there. Which, when I first heard that, oh, you don't feel the Spirit over Facebook? I didn't believe it, but it is so, so true. And so we're able to like contact people through Facebook that we might not otherwise be able to contact, or stay in daily contact with them through Facebook. And also there was an instance that I heard on my mission. There's a recent convert in one of my areas, and he had gotten in contact for some business dealings with some people from Utah. So he's in North Carolina, and these men were Mormon, and they invited him to learn about the church. And at first he didn't want to, but then after a couple months he was going through some difficult times. And this man had posted a Mormon message on Facebook. And so this man in North Carolina clicked on it, he saw it, felt the Spirit, and he wanted to learn more about the church. And he eventually ended up getting baptized, and then his wife got baptized, and his son got baptized. And so there's definitely, like, it works. Like, technology definitely does work. It's just using it correctly and the power that it has. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I have picked a blog for like 3 years, and I started it out just because like I was going away from home, I was sick abroad, and just thought it would be a good way for like my family to kind of put on what I was going through and stuff. And since that time, I've gone through some very sacred experiences, and I felt impressed that this blog is what the Lord wants me to do, like part of how He wants me to be a missionary online. And so I recorded a lot of those experiences on this blog, and it's been interesting. Like, I'll get a prompting that I need to write or whatever, and I'll just post the link on Facebook. And it's amazing how the Lord will prompt us to be missionaries to people that we aren't even around anymore. Because I have people like write to me and say, "Wow, like that was something I really needed to hear." And like that's not saying anything about me, but just like the Lord can use us as instruments across the world through social media.
Thank you. And then, what do you have? We got more. Holy cow. This is awesome.
Yeah, so mine's not really, my experiences aren't really different than anything that was already mentioned. But I know something that was really frustrating as a missionary. I got him 2 years ago, like out in well, so I'm kind of part of like the older group, I guess you could say. But it was really frustrating because you'd leave your area and you couldn't contact anyone really. And you could write a letter, and we all know how much time we have to write on feelings, right? We got to be sleeping or doing something else. But I think it's really good too for the missionaries now that they can keep in contact with their converts, recent converts, and WhatsApp and things like that. And it's been a benefit today, even just for me. I have a lot of converts that are really, really poor, and their phone is constantly getting shut off, right? Like they constantly don't have resources to communicate on a regular basis. But because we live in an internet sensation, they always have access to like the internet somehow. And so there's been many opportunities and instances where I felt prompted, like you were saying, to reach out to them on Facebook and to message them and to tell them who know. And there's been many times that they've reached out to me. I had a convert a couple weeks ago message me, and she said she was suicidal, and she was obviously something very serious. And she said, "I need to talk to someone, I don't want to talk to you, I need to talk to you now." And that popped up on my phone. Like, so would she have had someone be there for her in that moment if it weren't for technology and opportunity for that? So there's instances like that.
Wow. The Holy Spirit is so strong. There is a connection to every single one of your experiences, and if we can get more, it's this. And you saw evidence of others coming to Christ. That was your focus? Wow. Can I even just ask, what are we learning about this based on our discussion today? Paul, you get that.
Like for me, that should be my purpose of using the internet, is to help people.
I hope we walk away with that. I want to. I'm feeling Spirit so strong. I just want to go and help people come to the Savior via Facebook, via whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
I just love how on that board, it doesn't say the missionary purpose, it says your purpose. Because I've had a lot of experiences lately where I've been able to invite investigators that I taught over social media, invite them to go back to church, invite them to do things. And that's so applicable to all of us still, is we can still live that purpose. We can still invite, we can still help from a distance, even if we're not still in our missions, or if we live in Utah and we go to BYU and we don't know any non-members here, we can still continue to help.
I think going along with that, just how big that bracket of others is, you know? It's not just like that sphere of people, like, we're in a group of people that like, we live in Provo, we go to BYU, most of us, or UVU, and we work at the M2C. Like, our circle of non-members is pretty small, you know, at least mine is. But, like, others, that's so many people. That's that random person I'm friends with from Turkey and mainland China and Pakistan, and I can share the gospel with them, even though missionaries most likely are going to be tracting into their door, you know. And I think just remembering that others isn't limited, it's everybody.
So true. Okay, we got several. Johanna, Marissa, and Al.
Just real quick, like, this isn't my experience, but my dad, he's old, right? But he managed to use Facebook to like, he would, it's okay, I would say that I can use it, but, I love it. But he used Facebook to connect with, distant relatives and started asking them for family history information, and they are not members. And so we like become friends with them, and anyway, it was just, I just feel like, that strength of my testimony that like everybody can use this in some way to help others come into Christ and in unexpected ways.
That's awesome. Marissa, you got it.
Yeah, so I'm sure a lot of your states are doing this, probably the same as this too, is doing this thing right now where they push missionary work really hard solely through technology.
Yeah.
And so they give classes to us on like, and I think Facebook all the time, also through Twitter and Instagram and what's that other one that I hate? And
Pinterest,
No.
there's other things. Yeah.
everything. But let's get to one thing I remember. But how we can use all of those to do missionary work all of the time, and it's just totally changed my perspective. Because that, you know, that talk that was given a while ago about sharing missionary work, being missionary in a natural and normal way.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's so easy on Facebook. Like one of my friends from high school who left the church when we were like 17 and is very vocal about, not really anti, but very vocal about all the things she does on Facebook. But her dad passed away a few months ago and she has posted about that. And it was so cool that I could so easily have the opportunity. And I just messaged her and wrote my testimony. I was so scared and she messaged me back and it was like really normal and happy and so cool, because I don't know that I would have the opportunity otherwise.
That's amazing. There's one more comment.
Yeah. So I keep thinking of the scripture, if your eye be single, for the glory of God, right? Because I've gone through phases in my life where, you know, I've overused social media, right? Mindlessly scroll, and then you say, no more, and you stop checking. This is like the complete opposite. But what and maybe this is probably just more for me actually, I'm taking away the need to have more of a balance in my life when it comes to the use of technology. Because our purpose is the same as God's purpose. So we would fall under others for God, right, and for the city. And so He wants to be able to use these things to help us too. But He can't accomplish that if we're
Ostracizing ourselves.
Yeah. And so I think it's about becoming who Heavenly Father wants us to become personally, so that we can use these things righteously.
Letting the doctrine be written in our hearts. If you would, just take a minute, 30 seconds to a minute, and write down what is the Spirit prompting you, or teaching you. What is it teaching you and prompting you to do? Take just a minute to write down some thoughts.